Wow. So if you thought the SUFL power structure was all figured out, well, Week 11 basically came in with a sledgehammer and smashed it to pieces. We are going to break down a week that saw absolute titans fall, some epic streaks get just obliterated, and the entire playoff picture get thrown into total chaos. All right, let's get into it. And really, this says it all, doesn't it? Week 11 wasn't just another week on the calendar. Nope. This was a turning point. It's where the league's longest, most dominant winning streak was snapped in the most brutal way imaginable, and at the exact same time, another team planted their flag as the new hottest squad in the entire league. Everything has shifted. So here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we're going to cover those titanic upsets that ended those major streaks. Then, we'll dive into the absolute dogfight for survival in the playoff hunt. After that, we'll see how the whole league landscape has been shaken up. And finally, we'll look ahead to what is now a monster of a Week 12. Okay, let's get right to the main events. These two games, they weren't just about winners and losers. They literally redrew the entire map of the SUFL. First up, what is, without a doubt, the upset of the year? You had the AI fantasy bot, right? This team's a juggernaut, hasn't lost in months, going up against Jenks, Vodka, and OJ, who's kind of been flying under the radar, but just putting up insane scores week after week. You just knew something had to give here. And oh boy, it was the bot that finally broke. Jenks just came out swinging and dropped a massive 150 points. It all started on Thursday night when Treveon Henderson went off for over 31 points, and that just set a pace that was completely unbeatable. This was a dominant start-to-finish statement victory. But here's the really wild part. Get this. The bot's quarterback, Josh Allen, scored 56.68 points. On almost any other week, against any other team, that is an automatic win, no question. But it just wasn't enough. It proves that one superstar, even playing out of his mind, can't beat a total team effort like the one Jenks put together. Now that was earthquake number 1. The second major shift came from the matchup between the Wildwood Warthogs and Lick D's Salty Balls. The Salty Balls came into this thing riding high on a massive 5-game winning streak, looking like a true contender. Well, they left with a serious reality check. And when I say reality check, I mean an absolute beatdown. The Warthogs, our preseason favorite, finally looked the part, posting the highest score of the week. Get this, 3 of their players, McMillan, Dak Prescott, and CMC, all scored over 30 points. The final margin was nearly 65. The streak wasn't just snapped, it was demolished, vaporized. So, with all that chaos happening at the top, you know it sent shockwaves all the way down the standings. And that brings us to the desperate dogfight for those final playoff spots. The Bayshore Buzzards managed to keep their hopes alive with a huge win over a team Naj that is just collapsing. Devon Chain was his usual reliable self, but the real story is on the other side. That's 4 straight losses now for Naj. And to make it even worse, their star receiver, Jamar Chase, just got hit with a suspension. I mean, they are fading, and they are feeding fast. And here, you've got a tale of 2 teams going in completely opposite directions. Go to Bed has quietly won 2 in a row, clawing themselves right back into the playoff conversation. Meanwhile, the Neptune Crack Killers just dropped their 7th straight game. Even big nights from Bijan Robinson and Travis Kelce couldn't stop the bleeding. Their season is officially on life support. You know, sometimes a single number just tells the whole story. 3.34. That's what Justin Herbert scored for Bennies and the Jets. Combine that with a .8 from Khalil Shakir, and yeah, that's an easy loss to Team Used to Be's. It's got to be a huge disappointment for a team that was just 1 point away from the title game last year. So after all that chaos, all that carnage, what does it all actually mean? Let's take a look at the standings because, believe me, the league hierarchy looks completely different than it did just 1 week ago. And here it is. The AI bot has been knocked off the top spot. Jenks, Vodka, and OJ, riding a 3-game winning streak and putting up monster scores, is now arguably the hottest team in the entire league. You've got a massive logjam at 7-4 with the Warthogs and Used to Be's right there. And then look at that cluster of teams at 5-6, all clawing for those last 2 playoff spots. The bottom line is this: nobody is safe. All of this sets up an absolutely monumental Week 12. Heading right into the Thanksgiving holiday, pretty much every single game is now a must-win with huge implications. The biggest game of the week is without a doubt this clash of 7-4 teams. The Warthogs are coming off that massive blowout. Used to be's just cruise to a win. The stakes could not be higher. The winner here gets a massive advantage in the race for a coveted first-round bye. Then we have a pure, straight-up elimination game. After getting humbled last week, Salty Balls needs a win to right the ship. But for Bennies and the Jets, the math is brutally simple. If they lose this game, their playoff hopes are officially completely gone. It is do or die. And finally, we've got a classic spoiler scenario. The Red Hot Jenks Vodka and OJ, fresh off their massive upset, have a chance to play Dream Crusher. They can effectively end the playoff hopes of the Bayshore Buzzards, who are desperately clinging to that final spot. So that's where we stand. 3 teams fighting for 2 byes, a whole bunch of others fighting for their playoff lives. Week 12 is going to be absolute fireworks, and the question is simple. Who is going to rise to the occasion and claim a bye, and whose season will be over before the Thanksgiving leftovers are even gone? We're about to find out.